All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to this week's Team Infinity Hangout. It's February 18th, 2016. Excited that we get to have yet another special guest on our call that we're going to get to in just a second. First, want to give a few quick announcements, things that we have going on within the team, within the company, events, things that you should be aware of if you're not already. Pretty important thing. So first, just want to remind everybody about all the challenge pack promotions this month. 21-day fix, fix extreme, 3-day refresh, I believe are all 140, and I think size, right? Is that right? 140. So definitely take advantage of those things. You know, use the company's promotions for your challenge groups. Right? I mean, it makes it an easy conversation to say, hey, not only is this program initially discounted by 30, 40, 50 bucks by getting it in the challenge pack, but now they're taking an additional $20 off for this month. So it helps create some sense of urgency. If you're starting if you're building to start your March group, first week of March, you obviously have the cutoff of February 29th to get all that taken care of. But use those promotions, use the things that the incentives that the company has for us to your advantage. Second thing I want to announce are a couple of events that are going on. Number one, Summit is going to be here before you know it. So if you're already registered and already going, make sure you're, if you haven't already, locking up your hotel space or or checking vacation rental by owner to find a place. Feel free to post on the team page if you're looking for roommates to split rooms, share rooms, save costs on that kind of stuff. If you're not, if you don't already have your ticket, make sure you get on the waiting list. Everything that we're being told from the corporate side is that everybody who's on the waiting list is going to get an opportunity to go. And Summit is just, as you guys heard last week with Brooke, Summit is just one of those life-changing experiences. It's extremely hard for me to convey how powerful Summit is through a hangout or through even in person. It's impossible for me to explain to you how much of an impact that can have. That can have on your business. I still remember the first summit that we went to in 2011. I mean, there was like 2,000 people there, right? It's crazy. And even that just opened our eyes to say, wow, like this is incredible. For us, it was like, wow, this is amazing. 2,000 people all going towards the same type of goals and meeting all these people, having these sidebar conversations, these meetings after the meetings where you get to know these people, build relationships, and figure out, okay, they're just regular people. Like, they're normal. They're not special. They don't have any special magical powers, and they're still doing it. They're failing, they're moving forward, and they're doing it, right? So extremely powerful event to get to, and even, with 2015 Summit, just completely blown away by almost 20,000 coaches at that place, and it's going to be obviously even bigger and crazier this year. So make sure you're on that list, on the waiting list if you don't have your ticket, to take advantage of that. Last event that I want to talk about, well, two more events actually. Just a reminder that we have Super Saturday coming up here in April. That's 6 weeks away, right? I mean, it's going to be here before you know it. Figure out where your local event is and cross it off. I know the majority of us have jobs that we're still working. So if you work a job that requires you to come in on the weekend, request the time off now. Don't spring that on your boss 2 days before and say, hey, I have this thing coming up on Saturday, can I get off? And then you can't get off, and then you're like, oh, I wanted to go, but I couldn't get off of work. You've known for a while now, right? So start planning, start making those preparations, start figuring out babysitters and all the arrangements that you need to make depending on your situation to get there. Again, events are what will change your business. Getting to events, getting around the culture of Beachbody, hearing stories from successful people with their business transformations, their physical transformations, their fitness, just being involved in that environment will definitely change your perspective on the business and help you to, expand your vision of what's possible for you. Last thing I want to mention is the men's event that's going on in Dallas in May. They're closing down ticket sales to that at the end of the month. So if you're a guy on the team, I would definitely recommend getting to that event, right? I think tickets are like 200 bucks maybe, or 220 bucks. So it's an investment into you, into your business. But I can tell you firsthand from attending the event last year, one of the most impactful things for my business was networking with all these other successful guys, right? And being able to build those relationships and bounce ideas off each other, and just build that camaraderie, right? You know, that's such a huge part of it. And if you are a woman working this business and you have a husband and you want to get rid of him for a weekend, ship him off to Dallas for a weekend. Let him get around some other Beachbody guys. Let him, you know, see that we're not all trying to hit on their wives, right? Like we're not here to take your wife out for a date. We're actually trying to help them to help you, you know, help them and their families, right? Your families. That's what we're trying to do. And who knows? Your husband, who might have no interest in the business, might just have something click at an event like that, where you're seeing a bunch of other successful male Beachbody coaches. Because right now, I'm sure he probably sees your Facebook page and is like, "Oh yeah, it's just for you and all your girlfriends to work out and post selfies. Yeah, I can't do that." But if he gets around some other guys and shows, "Hey, we're not just taking workout selfies all day long. Like we actually can build a business too," might just change some things for him. Change his perspective. Who knows? Maybe he gets involved. But if nothing else, I think it would be huge for him to see the vision of what's possible, so that if for nothing else, he's 100% behind you, 100% supportive in what you're trying to do for you and your family. So wanted to mention that event, Men's Leadership. That is May 20th through the 22nd. Some of the big headline speakers, obviously
Mark.
Obviously me, right? No.
You are.
I mean, I am a speaker at the event, but I'm not a headline speaker. The event's run by 15-star Diamond coach Jimmy Nelson, $1 million member, founding coach Dave Ward. They've pulled in some pretty big names. Bo Eason, former professional football player, and he's a speaker, trainer now. Does an amazing job helping you to create your story. And then also probably one of, if not the hottest marketing type of person in the business world right now, Gary Vaynerchuk, is going to be the headline speaker there. So definitely want to get to that event to hear those guys speak, and again, just be around that environment. Last thing I want to mention, you know, a number of you, we posted about this on the team page, and I know many of you have seen our activity when it comes to social media, when it comes to Facebook, and using fan pages, using a like page, a business page to grow your business, right? You know, you have so much reach on a personal page and an exponentially greater reach on a fan page, right? But there's so many details to running a fan page. It can sometimes feel overwhelming. And that's how it was for us, as I would try to figure stuff out and Google stuff and piece stuff together. And so I'm always very hesitant and leery to recommend courses or trainings, because I'm like, I want to either go through it first and experience it. I just don't want to throw it at you, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, this thing really sucks. And I'm like, I didn't realize that. But most of you know that Jess and I have been going through a course right now that is run by a guy named Jesse Reagan. He's kind of specifically working with Beachbody coaches, and he closed out the group in January, but he's reopened it for those of you who have interest in learning that type of stuff, if you're referred. So you have to go to his Facebook page and say, hey, I was referred by Mark, and he'll let you in the group. Again, if you have a desire to take your business to that platform, Facebook pages, absolutely worth it. I think the course is like 300 bucks or something like that. I'll tell you right now that just the training in that course alone has saved us a couple $100 already, right? And we've already used it to start generating sales and creating customers and sponsoring coaches in a couple of weeks of going through the course. So super powerful. But he is closing that out because they're starting a new group in April. He is closing that out in the next couple of weeks. So if that's something that you have an interest in, hop over to his page, Jesse Reagan. I don't know, I'll post the link. Yeah, you can hop over there, shoot him a message that you're interested, and he'll get you in and get you any details and information that you might need to know about it. All right, let's move on. Let's get to our guest speaker for today. Again, I'm super excited that that we get to have Nikki Johnson on as a guest speaker. I've gotten to know Nikki through our little private groups that we have. We have these, double top secret groups that we run, where it's just some of the coaches within Beachbody. It's 5-star diamond and above coaches, and those groups are very valuable to me because I get to see that, number one, when I have struggles, it's not just me that has the struggles, right? It's a lot of people that struggle with different things, and you get to bounce ideas off each other and say, how did you overcome this specific situation? These groups have so much value in them as far as tips and information on how we can help our teams grow. So I've gotten to know Nikki through that group really well. And she is a wife, a mom of 2 kids. Like I mentioned in the team page, 13-star diamond coach, 2-time elite, Success Club 10 legend. So if you're a newer coach and might not know what that is, it means that she has hit Success Club 10 consistently for more than 2 years, 2 years straight, consistent in her business. And that consistency has led her to last year being ranked number 19 in the company in the elite leaderboard. So let me turn it over before I share any more of her story. I'll let her do that. Throw it over to Nikki. It should be good to go.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Great. Thank you so much for that introduction, Mark, and thank you, Mark and Jessica, for having me on your team call. I'm really excited. I like these daytime calls. Usually I'm at night and I'm so tired. And I'm definitely going to have to follow up with you on that Jesse Reagan. I have a like page too, and I'm always looking for ways to grow it. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys. It might be a little bit weird for a second, but I have a little presentation for you. Whoa, it's so trippy. Okay.
Looks good.
You guys see that?
Yep,
okay, awesome. Good. So like Mark said, I signed up in October of 2013, and in 2014 I went from Emerald to Elite, and then this past year I went from 6-star to 13-star. And so these are my tips that I teach my team, and this is what I share on the ways that I believe that I was able to do that. But before I get into all of that, I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story. You might have seen my story at Super Saturday. Beachbody did a video clip of kind of my story with lots of awesome editing because I was sitting in that room for about 2 to 3 hours. But I am a mom of 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old now. And after my first child, I did suffer from postpartum depression. And subsequently, I gained a lot of weight that I never lost. And then I had my second kid, and I put on even more weight. So you can see at this photo on the left, I gained about 50 pounds with my pregnancies. And as an athlete growing up, that was really hard for me to deal with. But obviously, with postpartum depression, I had a lot more going on than met the eye. After the birth of my first child, I also was laid off from my longtime career at AOL. And it kind of sent me into a tailspin because at the same time, my husband was a stay-at-home dad. So we went from having my income to having no income. And I started deciding that I was going to become an entrepreneur. So I started a cake business, which didn't help my weight gain. I also started blogging. I started becoming a freelance writer and a social media consultant. So I had all of these balls in the air that I was staying at home with my child and trying to, make an income. And my husband was struggling to find a job because when we met, he was a business owner. He had a brick and mortar, actually a vitamin and supplement store, kind of like a mom and pop GNC. And when he had moved to live with me, he sold his company. So he had a hard time transitioning into the workforce up where I live in DC, which is mainly tech. So we struggled a lot with income, and we lived a lot off our savings. And we ended up both finding a job at this startup, and I was able to work from home, and he went into the office. And so we had our second kid, and everything seemed to be better. And then the company folded, and so we were kind of back at square one. And we didn't know what we were going to do. And so I just started at the same time, kind of this life transition. I decided that I was going to lose my baby weight. My son was about 6 months old. I was so tired of having this extra weight. And so I decided that I was going to create a series on my blog, and just to really hold myself accountable, I was going to write every month an update on my weight loss. So every month I would have a new picture, and I would talk about what I was doing. And so it just started with me using the Lose It app and really counting calories, because I didn't really know anything about nutrition my whole life. I was a yo-yo dieter, and I was an athlete, so I didn't really have to worry about what I ate because I was always doing soccer. And so the nutrition was key for my weight loss. So when I started kind of counting calories, I still wasn't doing the right calories. I was still like a 100-calorie snack pack eater. But it started my journey. And so every month, I would post it on my blog, and then I would post it on Facebook, and people were following me, and they were like, what are you doing? So I started helping people. I started telling them what I was eating and sharing my tips. And I would go on Pinterest and find like different kinds of workouts to do. And so we ended up moving, and there was no gym where I lived. We lived in the middle of nowhere. And we did have this little community gym where I would go and do my own workouts. And there was a flyer on the wall for this group of doing T25. I didn't know what T25 was, but I really missed my gym group workouts. So I decided to go, and I really liked it. It was 25 minutes. It was awesome. So I started blogging about it. I was like, okay, I'm doing this T25 workout. I really like it. I had no idea about Beachbody, no idea about Shakeology. I was like drinking my own protein shake that my husband recommended. And this guy I went to high school with, he started commenting on my pictures whenever I would post my updates. And so if you know anything about Facebook affinity, if you start commenting on people's pictures more, then you start showing up more in their newsfeed. So that's why I always tell my coaches to make sure that you're constantly commenting on people's pictures, not just liking them. So he started showing up more in my newsfeed. So I started seeing a little bit about what this Beachbody thing was, because he is a coach. And he posted one day about how he was able to quit his graphic design job to be a full-time coach. And he lives in LA and Santa Monica, and he's like always on the beach doing workouts. And he's like friends with Tony Horton. And so even though I didn't know who Tony Horton was then, but I just was intrigued. And, you know, at the time my husband was going on like 9 months of unemployment. We're living off my freelance money. And actually my mom is like supplementing our income, which is totally embarrassing when you're in your 30s to have to live off your mom. And so I just was like, I was interested. So I asked him for more information. And I still didn't think it was for me. I thought, you know, I could never be a network marketer. I'm not good at selling things. I am just not going to do this. This is not for me. But he was persistent, and he followed up with me quite a few times. And so I don't even know really what it was. I even asked him if I could do it without Shakeology because I didn't want to drink that. And finally he said, Nikki, you're doing everything a coach does, but you're not getting paid. And that was kind of like the light bulb moment for me. And I decided to just give it a shot. I said, what the hell? I'll just try it. Like, I asked my husband to give me 3 months. And I think he kind of was, he's very supportive. So he wanted me to be happy. But at the same time, I think he thought, oh, I just want Nikki's like new entrepreneur things, because my cake business had, once we moved, that I had to stop it. So I was just kind of like dabbling here and there. So I signed up for the $40. I couldn't afford a challenge pack. And I always joke that I owe my coach 2 Success Club points, but I decided to just put on Facebook, I'm going to do a T25 challenge group. Who wants to join me? And because of all of the work that I had put in unknowingly this 6 months prior to signing up, I was able to hit Success Club 16 my first month. And I always like to share that story because I think a lot of times in this business, we get into the comparison game and we think this person signed up at the same time as me, but they are so much further ahead than me. Why can't I do it? And if you think about, you don't know where they started. So I really had the experience of a coach unknowingly for 6 months prior to signing up. So for me, that trust was already built with people. They already watched me lose weight. So if you're a new coach and you're still on your journey, I mean, we're always on our journey, right? But if you're, just getting started, you have to remember that you have to build trust with people, and they have to watch you for a little bit before they really want to come around and have you as their coach. So I was hooked from that moment on. I just was like, this is for me. I loved it. And I just started doing challenge groups every single month. And in the course of that whole journey, I lost over 50 pounds. So these are my 8 tips. I think I can hide it. Oops, can you still see? Oh crap. Here we go. Okay. So these are in no particular order: belief, vision, confidence, goals, action, success partners, cold market, leadership, and I have a bonus slide. So you might see a common theme throughout this slideshow. Let's see if you can kind of pick it up. Believe in yourself and all that you are. Know that there is something inside of you that is greater than any obstacle. I think one of the biggest reasons that coaches do not get to where they want to be is because they do not believe in themselves, or their belief is not true. And for this to work, for people to believe in you, you have to first believe in yourself. And you can do that through vision and through personal development. So a big part of my business is doing visualization. Said that weird. I have a couple of apps that I like. I like the Secret app. I remember when I first started coaching, I didn't want to spend the money on buying the Secret app because it was like $5, and that, you know, I couldn't spend $5 on an app. And my sister said something to me. She's like, well, maybe it would really help you and maybe you need it. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to do it. And I absolutely love it. It really helps me visualize. If you've never read the book, or there's a movie on Netflix, it's just really talking about visualizing what you want and feeling the way that you would feel when you get it. And then with the universe and whatever your beliefs are, if you believe in God, and then watching those visions come true. And this has been true for me. And this is another app, Spirit Junkie. And every day it sends you a new affirmation, and you can set it up to go off at different times. You can, if you have a favorite affirmation, you can save it and it'll come to you every day. Or you can even create your own affirmation timer. So what I tell a lot of my coaches is that they need to be doing affirmations every single day, and that if they are really struggling with something in particular, to set it as an alarm on their phone so that it pops up sometime during the day, you know, maybe like, I am an amazing coach, or people want to join my team. So you can see here on the right, this is an example of my gratefulness journal and my affirmations journal. So this is actually an old picture from January of 2015, and I like to use it because the first 3 things that I write in it are things that I'm grateful for in the present, and they can be anything. You can see here that I talk about having a great preschool teacher for my daughter, and then one of my coaches, I was grateful for her seeing success in her business. I was grateful for my husband cleaning the playroom. So then you can see the next 3 lines are things that I am grateful for in the future, but they have not happened yet. I do have healthy children, but I want them to stay healthy, so I'm always grateful for their health. I was grateful at the time it hadn't happened yet, but I was grateful for Ben being home to help me out, because that was my biggest why, my driving force when I signed up to coach, was to retire him. We had spent so much time together with no jobs. We're always home together, so we knew that because a lot of people are like, I don't want to retire my husband. I think we'd fight a lot. We knew that we would get along being home together, but we just didn't have any money. There was no money. So that was what we fought about, was the no money thing. So I was happy to have Ben home. And then I also said that I was grateful for a 6-figure business, but I had not yet hit that point in my business. The cool thing is that when I would write these, you know, you're feeling grateful for these things that have not yet happened. And then about 2 months after this, both of those things happened. I was able to retire my husband, and I hit the 6-figure mark in my business. So it's really important to me to visualize what I want and to feel how I want to feel, and to give gratefulness to those feelings. And then I have my affirmations. I remember at this point in my business, I had just hit elite, and it was a huge goal of mine to hit elite in that year. And I kind of, in this business, it's hard because when you hit really big goals, you're home alone and you're kind of like, yay. It seems almost anticlimactic because the celebration comes later, like at summit or at events. And so when you hit 5-star, you get put into, like Mark was talking about, these groups, and you're in these groups with all of these people that you have looked up to throughout your coaching business. And instantly, for me, I'm very competitive, and I just get into that comparison game so easily. And I just remember feeling, how can I ever be as good a coach as these people? How am I ever going to keep this going? You know, I went into a huge funk, and I had to really dive into personal development and really dive into affirmations. So you can see in my affirmations, I'm a leader amongst leaders. That was really important for me to really believe that I deserved to be there. I deserved to be in that group and to be with all of these amazing people that I respect. I'm admired and respected. I'm confident in my business. People want to join my team. So, and I'm a 15-star diamond. I'm still affirming that. It's going to happen. But it's just really, really important. And I try to tell all of my coaches, even though it feels so silly sometimes to do this stuff, it's so important. And if you put personal development on the back burner, usually you can feel it in your business. Your business will start to falter because you're not putting in that work that you need to do on yourself and to be a better leader and to be a better coach for all of your challengers. Okay, confidence. So when you're doing your visualization and you're doing your personal development, your confidence is growing. It's so important to be confident because if you are not confident, you'll start to second guess yourself and you'll start to self-doubt, and then it will come through on social media. And also another thing that I see a lot of coaches do is they have shiny ball syndrome. So they'll be like, oh, so-and-so is doing it that way, I should change everything. No, if you just are consistent and you stay the course, whatever you're doing is going to be good. So do push out of your comfort zone. Make sure that you're not staying safe all the time. If you feel uncomfortable, then that's probably good. You probably need to be doing something to get out of your comfort zone. So whether it's inviting more or maybe like posting your before and after on Facebook, just definitely push out of your comfort zone, because that's when people connect to you. When you get vulnerable and post the things that you really don't want to post, that's when people start really being attracted to you. Do create your own team. As soon as you have a coach or a couple coaches, like create your own team page and really start posting in there, even if nobody's responding, and just practice. Being a leader doesn't come naturally to everybody. And so the sooner you start practicing becoming a leader, the better that you will become. Do take a lot of selfies. I know it seems kind of like vain or weird, especially if you're not used to it and you're so worried about what other people are going to think about all your selfies. But that's the best way for people to people want to see you. They don't want to see your Shakeology. They don't want to see, the pictures of the programs. They want to see you working out. They want to see you drinking your shake. They want to see what your life is about. And think of it as your own little reality show. And people are following you for a reason. They're following to see you, to not see your stuff. And do grow yourself. Be weird, be random, be who you are. Do not be afraid to be yourself. I see way too many people, copying other coaches and trying to figure out what their secret is. And their secret is that they're being themselves and they are attracting people to them who are most like them. So make sure you celebrate your uniqueness and don't compare yourself to others. I have this in here a lot because I do it all the time and it takes so much work to not do it, but it will really kill you. It will there's nothing good that can come out of comparing yourself to other people. Don't focus on your failure. Use your failures to learn and to fail forward. There's so many things I've done in my business that have just totally bombed, but I just spit on my screen. I'm getting really excited. But I have used those to move my business forward. For example, in the beginning of coaching, my coach didn't run challenge groups. So I had to figure it out on my own. And I basically had to fake it until I made it. I had a 10-week challenge group for T25. And of course, do you think a 10-week challenge group stayed active for 10 weeks? No, it did not. So I had to figure out, and I was doing a T25 group, and then I did a P90X3 group, and they were all separate. And so finally one day I realized that I could combine all the programs and just create an accountability group for everybody. But I had to fail forward and figure out that that's what worked for me. I also have had to shut down groups before. I still have to shut down groups sometimes just because, I'm a 13-star diamond doesn't mean that my groups are always awesome. So if that happens, don't get discouraged. Sometimes I'll put a post on Facebook to join a challenge group or to join my team, and nobody messages me or nobody fills out my application. I don't let that stop me. It's just me learning that maybe that didn't work. Maybe I need to change something about that picture, or I need to change something different. Don't listen to the haters. Most people are haters because they are unhappy with themselves. And a lot of haters end up coming back around. And they will if you listen to the haters, and you will just self-implode. If you have a hard time with this, I would listen to the audio or read the book, You Are a Badass. She talks a lot about that. And it's been really helpful. I've had a few haters in my life since I've joined Beachbody, and I actually lost a really good friend over it. But ultimately, if it had to come down to that, then she wasn't supportive of me. So I needed to cut her from my life. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. And so if you have haters, just ignore them and don't respond to them, because that's what they want. They're trolls. And do not dwell on self-doubt. So keep going with that personal development and making sure that you are confident and you know exactly what you're doing. Well, you don't always have to know what you're doing, but you can pretend. Okay, setting goals. I never really set goals for real goals, except for when I was at AOL, like we had to do quarterly reports or whatever, and like my goals were basically just BS. So becoming a Beachbody coach, this was really a new thing for me. And this example right here is, these are goals that I set in December of 2013. So I had just signed up in October. I was an Emerald. And so I had created these goals. The only thing I didn't do on here is I didn't create dates for which I wanted to hit those goals by. The dates that you see here are the dates that I hit those goals. I still haven't hit some of these. Like, there's no way that my husband and I do 2 to 3 date nights a month. Still working on that. And then we still haven't taken a honeymoon, but we've had plenty of vacations with Beachbody, obviously. But we actually didn't have a honeymoon because we had a 9-month-old when we got married. So we did it backwards. We had a baby first and then we got married. And so anyways, these are my first goals that I ever set. I really encourage you, when you're setting goals, to have daily goals. So maybe, you know, how many people you want to talk to each day or invite each day. And then you should have weekly goals. I don't have that on here, but I like to break down my weekly goals by Success Club points. So what I'll do is, if my Success Club goal for the month is like 20 points, I'll break that down into weeks, and then I'll break it down into people. So I need to be helping, you know, 3 people every week with a challenge pack. And then obviously monthly goals, like hitting Success Club. Quarterly goals, maybe those goals are for you are based around the quarterly bonus if you're trying to hit 2-star or 5-star. And then yearly goals, where do you want to in the year at? Do you want to be elite? Also, I like to have summit goals. So what do you want to be at summit? Do you want to, you know, be an Emerald coach? Do you want to be a Diamond coach? Or do you want to get on stage? All those different things. And the cool thing about Beachbody is that they are so great with these goals. They are really encouraging us to set goals, because if you don't have a goal, then you're just kind of flailing out there in the water and you don't know where you're going. And so, like Tony Robbins says, setting the goals is the first step to turning the invisible into the visible. And if you just have them in your head, then they're not going to help you. You have to have them written down. I also keep a whiteboard by my desk. I'm not at my desk right now. I'm upstairs because my internet's weird down there. But I have a whiteboard, and I put every month I put little boxes that have my my goal. So if like I have 20, if I want Success Club 20, I put 20 boxes, and then I just check each one off as I am hitting those goals. And it really helps me visualize what I want. So I have my Success Club goals. I have how many coaches I want to sign. I have boxes for, and then I also have boxes for how many of my coaches I want to be hitting Success Club. And that really helps me visualize my goals. It's right there in front of me. And then I have a list of my goals for the year. So I create a dream board, but I don't print my dream board out. It's on my computer, but I have the goals, the most important goals, written down right in front of my face every single day. So on those days that I don't feel like working, I can see those goals and tell myself, Nikki, are you going to hit those goals if you take today off? Probably not. All right, taking action. So we have all these goals, right? We have to take action. We can't just create goals. We can't just visualize and say, oh, I hope it happens. You have to take action towards hitting those goals. So of course I have the vital behaviors here, which you all know. So I'll go through each of them. I know the invite goal is very overwhelming, especially for a lot of new coaches. So I like to call this one connect. Should always be connecting with new people every day, adding new people to your network, but also making sure that you're going through your ideal coaches and ideal challengers and really connecting with them on social media. So you're commenting on their pictures. You don't have to invite them to a challenge group right away. You can start a conversation with them. Maybe you haven't talked to them in a really long time. And just opening up that communication will make you both more comfortable. So if they see you put out an invite on Facebook, they might be more likely to ask to join your group because you just recently talked to them. Whereas if you don't ever talk to them, maybe they see your invite and say, oh, I really want to join Nikki's challenge group, but we haven't talked since high school. That might be kind of weird. But if you have that open line of communication and you have been checking in with them or commenting on their pictures, maybe they won't feel as uncomfortable to ask to join. Or maybe when you're talking to them, they'll be like, oh, I've seen your posts. What are you doing? So just don't be afraid to reach out to people. Number 2, be proof the product works. So don't skip your Shakeology and have a backlog. Like, you should always be drinking your shake every day. It's so good. Why would you not want to? I sometimes have 2 a day. And I give it to my kids. My husband drinks it. We are like all about that Shakeology up here. And then commit to your workout. Okay, so I'm not gonna like say that I work out every single day, because I try as much as I can, but I do. That's the thing I struggle with the most as a coach is my workouts. I don't love working out, but I have to stay committed for my business. And so if I do fall off the wagon, I make sure that I share that with my community, with my Facebook, because that's real and relatable. A lot of my ideal customers and coaches are like me. So they're going to have a hard time sticking to a program. And that is why I love the 21-day fix, because I can like finish it. But my ideal coaches, like the biggest objection that I get is that they have a hard time staying accountable. And that's why it's so amazing to be a coach, because when you do fall off the wagon, you have people there to help you. It's hard to have a challenge group and tell them to be working out every day when you yourself are not working out. So that's the best reason that I feel like I became a coach, because I can stay accountable. Who knows where I would be right now if I did not sign up to be a coach? I would probably, have gained half of my weight back, if not all of it. So just make sure that you're really, and also, when I do fall off the wagon, I find that when I get back on it, like I feel so much better. My business is doing better. I feel better about myself. And I don't know, every single time when I fall off the wagon, I'm like, why did I do that? Okay, number 3, personal development. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of it. I'm not going to drill it into your head too much more, but it's so important. And there is a reason why all the top coaches say that it's such an important piece of your business. I remember it was in Cancun last year, the last Success Club trip, they did a top 10 panel. And I think every single coach in the top 10 mentioned personal development being a huge factor in their business and their success. And then don't forget to track your actions. For me, it really has been helpful to track everything, especially if you feel like you're not succeeding. If you track things, then you could probably look back and see like, oh, well, I don't feel like I'm succeeding, but look, this has increased, or, my volume is going up, or my Success Club points are higher. Or you can see where you maybe need to work on things. Maybe so I track everything from like my like page to my Instagram, to my YouTube, volume, everything, like coach signups. So if you see something kind of dipping, like so I used to track Twitter, which I don't know why, because I never use it, but like I saw my numbers going down and I was like, oh man. But then I thought, why am I tracking this? I'm not using it. Obviously my numbers don't matter. So maybe make sure you're tracking things that you actually care about, but you can kind of look and see where you need to focus. Okay, success partners. This is one of my favorites. I absolutely, can you please get out, please? I have a call. Go on. Go to dad. Sorry, daughter's home. Success partners have been a huge game changer in my business. I definitely do not think that I would be where I am today if I did not have a success partner. Basically, a success partner is somebody that's going to hold you accountable to your goals, to believe in you when you do not believe in yourself, and to kind of just be like your best friend in this business. They understand what you're going through. And they just, I can't even say how amazing it has been to find a success partner. I always hear people trying to like do matchmakers and they're like, okay, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what's your life like? Do you have kids? Blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that that's what makes a success partner. I think you have to have similar goals in mind. You have to be on the same trajectory, or like you have to be at the same speed. So I've had a few different success partners, and I really think also that you have to be okay with success partners changing. They're not always going to stay the same depending on your business, because sometimes what happens is you have the same goal as somebody and you're like both running towards your goal, and then one person falls off a little bit and then they fall off a lot, and then you're just totally at different places in your business and it's not going to work out. And that's okay. You have to be, it's kind of like dating, you know, you have to kind of like date to find out who you're going to marry. So you kind of have to date around, figure out who your success partner is going to be. And so I just know that my success partners always are there for me when I feel like I'm flailing, or they push me. If I set a goal and my success partners think that I can do more, then they tell me, they call me out. They're like, okay, Nikki, that's too easy. You know, you need to aim for this. So if you find somebody, you just ask them if they have a success partner. That's what I did. I got put into this group as a diamond with all these other diamonds. And my success partner, Bonnie Engel, was in there, and I thought she was funny. I liked her posts. I thought we had the same sense of humor. So I just sent her a message, and I was like, hey, do you have a success partner? And she didn't. And so, like, we couldn't be more opposite. Like, I have 2 children. She has no children. You know, like, her husband's in the military. At the time, my husband was not in the military. Now he's retired. We have, like, totally different lives, but we make really great success partners, and she pushes me so hard. Obviously, she's number 2 in the company. And so I don't think that I would have ended number 19 if I didn't have her, like, constantly, you know, pushing me to do more and to work harder. Okay, cold market. I keep saying okay before every slide. Sorry, bad habits. Cold market is so important. I know Mark mentioned like pages. My like page has been an amazing source of for me to dip into my cold market. I actually have a huge warm market. I am the kind of person that makes friends everywhere I go, and I like friend request everybody. And I never did one of those, like, you know, friend purges. Like, a lot of people get on Facebook and they go through their friends list and they delete people. I've never done that. So when I started as a coach, I already had, I think I had almost like 1,800 friends. So I had a really huge warm market. I've been able to, like, go through that warm market. I still sometimes have a trickling of people from my warm market coming in, which is amazing. But I know that that is not the norm. So I always encourage my coaches to start working on their cold market as soon as possible. Obviously, the first month, I don't want them to get too involved in it because I don't want them to be overwhelmed. There's a lot to learn in this business. I want them to be able to hit Success Club through their warm market. But I do talk to them a little bit about where they want to go with their cold market. So I have 3 places. My main focus is my like page. So I encourage you to not have, I don't want you to dip your hands in everything, because then you're not going to be an expert at anything. It's going to be like half-ass everywhere. So really, it's okay if you have a YouTube, it's okay if you have an Instagram, but you really want your focus to be on one. So they say an inch wide and a mile deep. Do everything you can to learn about that particular platform. For me, on my like page, I go and watch YouTube videos. I sign up for trainings. I've done Sandy Krakowski. I've done everything I can to learn about my like page, and I'm still learning. You know, it's not always 100%, and I don't think it ever will be, but wherever you put the most focus is where you're going to be successful. I started my Instagram right when Instagram came out, but I wasn't a coach then. It was mainly just me sharing my life, and I haven't really transitioned the focus to coaching until probably the past 6 months. Now I'm really putting more thought into what I post on my Instagram page. And then my blog, I don't get a lot of people through my blog, which people always think that because that's kind of how I got started. I get a lot of people coming to my blog through Pinterest, but they're looking for my 21-day fix recipes. Most of those people already have coaches. But I do like having my blog as a resource where I can send people. And I'm starting to make more of an effort to consistently post there. Whatever you put the most consistency into is going to be the most successful. So if you can't blog regularly, then a blog probably isn't for you. And you need to make sure that you are posting on your like page or on your Instagram frequently. For me, on my Instagram, I do like 1 a day. But some people who have Instagram as their main focus, they probably post at least 3 times a day. For me, that's on my like page and on my personal page. But you have to know that no matter what you do, it's going to be slow. You're not going to get people right away. And I think because we live in such a I want it now society, that's why a lot of people fail in this part of their business, because they're not willing to give it the time. They're not willing to nurture it, and they're not willing to watch it grow. They just do it for a few, months, and then they're like, this sucks, it's not working, I give up. And they go to something else, and then you're starting from scratch somewhere else. And also going back to that shiny ball syndrome that coaches have, if you watch a training on somebody who has a really awesome like Periscope page or something, and you've been working on a like page, and then you think, oh my gosh, I should start Periscope. I'm going to do that. And then you go over to that shiny ball, and then you kind of like, you know, you see what I'm saying? You're jumping around from thing to thing. And if you're not consistent and you're not putting the time and effort into one thing, you're going to fail at all the things. So just know also when you are growing your cold market, you're going to have to spend a little extra time learning. So maybe take some of your time to set aside for watching YouTube videos and watching webinars, because that does take more time out of your business. Well, it's for your business, but it's taking time out of your day. And if you're anything like me and you have kids and you're just trying to like figure out this business when you can, then you have to really take that into account. I have like 1,000,001 videos saved that I need to watch, and I just try to get to them when I can, and I don't focus on that I can't get to them right now. It's just when I can get to them, I will. Leadership. So I know I said in the first couple of slides to take leadership as soon as you can, and you should create a team Facebook page. You should also start, you don't have to do weekly team calls, but maybe bi-weekly or monthly with your team. And what I did in the beginning is, instead of doing these calls where I had guests, because I didn't really have guests to have on, I would just get my coaches on, and we would go through our week, and we would say, what was your win of the week? What was your struggle of the week? And what was your personal development takeaway of the week? And we would just go around the Zoom call, and we would all share. And it was a great way to build that team camaraderie right from the beginning. And I really feel like that's a huge part of my team, is the culture. And it's because I think we started it that way. And that's how I always encourage my new coaches to start with their teams. Make sure you're checking in with your coaches weekly. So you're going, and a lot of people have different personalities, obviously. And so some people are quieter than others. So that's why you always want to be reaching out to your coaches to make sure that everything's okay with them, because they might not always be willing to come to you, especially if they maybe are struggling. That's definitely something that people don't like to admit. So just make sure you check in, that you care. And also, going back to success partners, I talk about success partners in my new coach training, and I really encourage my coaches to find a success partner within our team page early on, because I see that a lot of coaches that I think would have quit stay on our team because they do have that success partner. They do have that support. They're willing to work through their issues and their struggles. Get yourself to Success Club first, and then dedicate yourself to your coaches. I see a lot of people, especially new leaders, it's really exciting to have coaches and to have a team, and you want to spend all of your time helping them, but you have to remember to put on your oxygen mask first. If you don't get yourself to Success Club, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice. That should be a non-negotiable in your business. So the first 2 weeks you should dedicate to yourself hitting Success Club. Hit Success Club within the first 2 weeks, and then turn to your coaches and help them. You don't want to be scrambling at the end of the month, because then you'll be tired, and then you'll start this whole cycle where you scramble at the end of the month, then you're burnt out, so then you wait, and then you do it all over again. Don't get into that cycle. I see it happen way too many times. Always get yourself first. Lead new coach trainings. So offer to help your coach lead new coach trainings. I have a new coach training every 2 weeks on my team, and all of my coaches help out with it. So I give them the script. I don't know how you guys do it on your team. This is how we do it. They have a script, and that way I'm not the only leader on the team. There's other coaches that are leaders on our team, and I'm not the only person that people look up to as a leader. So step up and become a leader on your team. Stay on top of the breaking coach news. Right when you log into your coach online office, it's on the right-hand side. Really make sure that you're checking that every single day, as well as logging into the National Wake Up Call. And then doing recognition. I know, I think that at the New Leader Conference, they announced that this was like the 4th vital behavior, and giving recognition is so important, and people love to be recognized. So you don't have to just recognize for rank advancements. You can recognize somebody for their first challenge pack sale, or if they have a really great post that you saw on Facebook, shout it out on the team page and say, hey, Susie, I loved your post. This is great. And also it helps other people get ideas for what they can post. And this is my bonus slide, the gems. Also, there's the color code, personality plus, there's all different kinds, but I do gems. Learning people's personality is so important. So when I have a new coach, I always have them take the gem quiz and tell me what gem they are. That way I can I know how to talk to them. I know how to motivate them. I am a Ruby Sapphire. I am motivated by challenges and goals and by fun. So I love being pushed. I love being told like I can't do something because then I want to do it. And I love anything that's fun. I am bored by facts and figures and Excel spreadsheets and all that. I'm not organized, so I'm not an emerald. And a lot of people say they're pearl because it's helping others. We all like to help others, but a lot of pearls are like teachers or doctors or nurses. They really, really are motivated, and they don't like, pressure. My pearls do not want to be pressured. Do not pressure them to hit diamond. They do not like it. So this really tells me how I can motivate my coaches and how I can better relate to them. Because I learned I had to fail forward with this. When I was a newer coach, I was a new diamond, and being motivated by fun and recognition, I really wanted to be a 1-star by Summit, and I wanted to go to the 1-star party. And so I was pushing one of my coaches who was the closest, but she was a pearl, and she got really mad at me. And it was a really big learning experience for me because I had to realize like she's not motivated the way I'm motivated. So I did not hit that goal. Somebody did invite me to that party. My coach did, thankfully. But that's just an example of how I had to learn that, not everybody is like me. So if I could leave you with one thing, if your actions, and then I go bomb it. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. So don't be afraid to go out there on Facebook and inspire others and inspire your teammates and just really step up and become a leader. Okay, so where is my...
Nikki, that was awesome.
Thanks.
Great presentation, great points. I loved, had a couple of things that stood out to me. I loved how you pointed out in the beginning, about comparing ourselves and comparing, somebody's quick start to somebody else's not so quick start, and not knowing that back history. So, you mentioned that you were doing this stuff for 6 months without getting paid. You had a big network of people already, people that knew you, liked you, trusted you. So when you made a recommendation, they're like, oh yeah, she's legit, she's real, she's genuine, she genuinely is trying to help me. This is what I'm doing. And then the other component too that you had was that you guys had some type of business experience, right? You were business owners. You had your cake shop or whatever that was.
That was funny.
It's called Noms by Nikki.
Oh.
So you had a little bit of a sense of, okay, this is a business, right? If I'm going to work this like a business, I'm going to do it like a business, right? And track the things that I need to track, and track my numbers, track my activity. That was great. And then the other part I loved too was the visualization piece. I've shared this story with our team a lot, how when I was making my push to go to get to 5-star, I have this video, this like motivational thing that I found it and stole it basically and downloaded it on my YouTube channel. But it's just a compilation of different motivational speakers, Eric Thomas and Les Brown, and pictures and stuff like that. And I would literally be in my workout room right over there, crank it up, close my eyes, and picture myself walking across the stage at Summit. What was I going to do? How was I going to raise my arms? Where was I going to point to my team at? Was I going to high five Carl or not? What was I going to do? And it had happened, and I was like, I did all that. I was like, yes, point, high five Carl. That just happened because I basically practiced that in my mind over and over and over, and then it happened. So that was great. And I don't know if anybody has any questions for Nikki, but feel free to post in the chat, and then we can ask. A couple of quick questions that I have. We kind of do just on the fly Q&A. Nothing too deep. Don't worry. So real quick, if you wouldn't mind sharing your favorite success or motivation quote.
Well, I had some of them in my slide, but gosh, let me see. I'm such a quote person. I found this journal from when I was in high school with all quotes. It's just like all quotes. I posted one today that really stood out to me. It says, it is good to love many things, for therein lies the true strength, and whosoever loves much, performs much, and can accomplish much, and what is done in love is done well. And that was Van Gogh. So
Nice. How about your favorite personal development book? You mentioned personal development a lot. What's your favorite book?
by far my favorite is You Are a Badass. I've read it like 3 times at least.
Cool.
My other favorite one is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. It's a longer read, but it's so awesome. And he has a whole visualization chapter that is just amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I have that on audio. Love that one. And then last question that I had, somebody's mentioned, what was the visualization app? Spirit Junkie.
Spirit
Junkie.
Yeah, cool. So going back to when you started as a coach, you have all the knowledge and experience that you have now. What's the one thing that you would focus on doing first, right away? To get your business up and running.
The first thing?
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many first things I would do. The first thing that I would do is announce that I'm a coach.
You're like her. I'm like her. We're just going through some stuff today. She's like, oh, this would be good right away. I'm like, we can't have all these things right away.
On day one.
Day one, right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think, I'm thinking too of my like welcome email. I'm like, oh, I have a lot of steps in that welcome email. People are so worried about like, what should my screen name be? Like, don't worry about your screen name. No one uses their screen name. I think the first thing I would do is just make sure that you're plugged in, and so that whenever you have questions, you know kind of like where to go first, like checking the FAQs. I mean, for me, I just couldn't get enough. I was just like, give me all the YouTube videos, give me everything, but that can be overwhelming for some people. So if you just focus on the simple things every day, that's going to just get you far. Just connecting with people, inviting them to your challenge group, and focusing on hitting success goals. That's like the basic thing you can do. Don't overcomplicate it with like setting up websites and all that kind of stuff. Like basic.
Perfect. Yeah, there's so many things that we can get caught doing busy work, right, in our business, and it just sidetracks us. Yeah, exactly. And I love that you mentioned, connecting with people as far as, it might invite, it's connecting. And a lot of times we'll talk about that on our team, that the invites are kind of, the way I look at it is 3 invites, right? So it's, the first invite is kind of inviting someone to be a friend if they're not a friend. That's the invitation. Second invite is inviting to some type of conversation or connecting, right, and building that relationship. And then it's the invite to a challenge group or to learn more about coaching or whatever that is. But that's kind of that third one, but you have to make those connections.
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't happen by itself. So cool. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if you have one, post it real quick, and then we'll let her go. But anything else? Do you have any questions? No? Good. Awesome. So again, Nikki, appreciate you taking time out of your day to just spend a little bit of time with us and share some awesome tips with our team. I know that we're gonna have a bunch of people go back and rewatch this. Great stuff, and I'll definitely make sure I get you the other Facebook training info.
Oh yes.
So awesome, guys. Thanks again, Nikki. Thanks everyone for being here. And if you want to watch the recording, we'll see you on the cruise. If you want to watch the recording, you can head to our team YouTube channel, youtube.com/teaminfinityvideos, and the recording we posted here in just a minute. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Bye.
Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks.